He's fine with that alignment when it's actually dunking to his left, but all of a sudden, obviously, when it's dunking on the Democrats, we're united. Unlike Trouble Man, I'm consistent, okay? I want to fucking fight the Republicans. I want to fight fascism in this country. If the Democrats, if the liberals are going to be doing that, I'm going to support them. All right? That's it. That's it. That's the point. Now let's keep watching these fucking Republicans cry delicious tears. Anyway, I'm going to break my self-imposed social media ban to note something that I might write if I wasn't leaving or on a trip tonight. If you want to solve gerrymandering as a solvable problem, there are several options. Liberals would prefer some. Commissions that account for communities of interest. Conservatives will prefer others, say strict compactness requirements, but each side's skepticism of the other's preferred option is mostly unjustified. Commissions haven't mistreated the GOP in the way it believes. Nationwide commission-drawn maps perform as one would expect based on computer sims. With commissions nationwide, the maps might well lean more GOP than today. The GOP's misperception here is partly based on the lopsided seat count in California, but single-member districts don't yield proportional maps. In California, where 80% of people live in D geographies, a fair map will yield 80% Dem seats. That's what the Sims say too. The GOP's concern that communities of interest are just a backdoor way to justify gerrymandering Democratic seats isn't unfounded. This strikes me as an area that's ripe for compromise if anyone ever wanted. Still, so far, it hasn't yielded unfair results. There have been commission-drawn maps where Ds aren't happy with the result, like Colorado or Arizona. On any given map, someone's going to get the marginal district. But if you judge this process in the aggregate, it works out fine and fair. A compactness/boundary standard wouldn't be nearly as bad as progressives seem to believe either. It wouldn't hurt Democrats or the number of minority-majority districts to the extent they believe. Dem fears were understandable in the Obama era, but it's not 2012 anymore. Dems win in the burbs while doing worse in both city and countryside. As a result, compact districts yield a competitive and relatively balanced map nationwide. More pure gold from Tim Pool.
Pritzker's, of course, talking out his rear end, trying
to. Texas rep calls for arrested Democrats who fled possible bribery charges. Oh, this is when the Texas Republicans were rigging their state 8 months ago, when Tim Pool was calling for the arrest of the Democrats who were trying to stop that process from taking place. Disagree not while Republicans are actively trying to revise our history. What? This isn't Nate Silver. This is Nate Cohn. This is the other Nate. This is the New York Times Needle Nate. Okay? He's the upshot guy. Here again, there's a lot of interstate variation. In states like Texas, compact districts will yield many seats for the Democrats. In Illinois or Wisconsin, it's great for the GOP. Nationwide, it would be fine. As the nation's suburbs become more diverse, compact districts do less and less to pack non-white voters into overwhelmingly non-white seats. Nowadays, compact maps yield many minority opportunity districts without any deliberate effort to create them. Details are interesting and I guess not wrong, says Aaron Frischner. But Republicans aren't against a ban because of the particulars. They simply think they're entitled to power regardless of the popular will. This is also why they stole the Supreme Court seat and tried to steal a presidential election. Exactly. Because Republicans are fucking fascist, okay? I've said Republicans are fascist throughout my entire career, but now they're like fully leaning into the fascism. They're like openly demonstrating the power that they have, no matter how undemocratic it is, okay? As a matter of fact, they like that it's undemocratic. They see that as a flex. I understand why journalists want to show nonpartisan objectivity by drawing parallels between the parties and finding space in the middle, but the parties simply differ here. The reason the parties disagree on a gerrymandering ban is also why they disagree on the Electoral College. There are 10,000 examples of this from prominent voices on the right today. They aren't saying, let's reform the system. They're just outraged that their own tactics were used against them. Look at this from one of the most followed conservative Virginia accounts. It's insane. I'll take 4 to 6 GOP. By the way, one of the most followed Republican Virginia accounts, of course, Lolly. I'll take 4 to 6 GOP pickups in Texas, 1 GOP pickup in Missouri, and 2 to 3 GOP pickups in Ohio in exchange for losing 1 GOP seat in Maryland. The fact of the matter is, we hold all the cards here. There's absolutely nothing Democrats can bring to bear that matches our ability to gerrymander Republican-controlled states next year. Why would we not do this? And then openly states, no, I support gerrymandering when my side does it, and I oppose it when Democrats do it because Democrats are my enemy and I want them to lose everywhere. The Democratic Party masquerades as a legitimate political party while functioning as an illegitimate tool for foreigners, criminals, and their managerial handlers to sack and pillage this country at the expense of the American people. The appropriate number of Democratic seats at all levels of government is 0. The party itself should be banned, and at least half of its elected officials should be in prison. How refreshingly honest. Unbelievably funny, though, that like a prominent right-wing figure in the election Twitter on the Republican side is a fucking lolicon. You should be in prison. As a matter of fact, in the state of Texas, by Texas law, you would be in prison. What the fuck are you talking about? Your same party wants to beat you to death with hammers for your gross, perverse sexual fantasies. Fuck you mean? This is why it's so funny. It's funny to me that these guys are like, yeah, no, in a future neo-Nazi universe that I want to craft, I will be fine. They will let me jerk off to the fucking lolicon. No, they won't. Okay? Even in your wildest dystopian future that you have designed for yourself, you're still going to jail. Anyway. This is not just a phenomenon of Trumpism either, though he has obviously taken it to new depths. Adam Serwer makes the point in a depressing way. Exhibit A. Peter J. Hansen, it's really so egregious that Virginia's wealthiest residents are straight up trying to steal voting power from the state's rural and working class voters. From now on until eternity, Peter J. Hassan says, any Virginia Democrat who says, I support the working class or I support our farmers should be asked, then why did you support disenfranchising them? Adam Serwer says, you can't do that to rural voters. What are they, black people? That's the other side of the story. Because redistricting by Republicans has been wielded as a weapon to disenfranchise black voters in perpetuity. That is like the major point of this. Just like the filibuster was most commonly applied to undermine any kind of civil rights legislation, racist reactionary forces in this country have used every tool in the fucking tool belt to undermine black voters in the South. Okay? That's their purpose. That's what they've done. That's the whole point. She responded to a Groyper crying. Red line politics. Yeah, the dream of Republican Virginia is dead. Red line politics is damn. Red line politics just had nothing to say. Just said, damn, I got cooked. Yeah, the L. Louis Lucas is cooking on the fucking timeline. Hopefully this take doesn't come off poorly, but the only reason that the neocon is wrong is because of their morals, not their tactics. That them should fight just as dirty as the fascists do against them, treat them as an actual enemy. Yes, that's my point. That is what I've been demanding. That is what I want. I want these motherfuckers to cry, okay? What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? Let's get serious. Are we actually fighting the fascist threat in this country? Or are we just like playing by the uneven rules that the fascists have designed that they keep utilizing against the Democrats over and over again? This is good. I will support it. Of course, when the Democrats do something good, I'm going to support them. Even if they're a fucking liberal, bourgeois, capitalist party. As long as they're not the controlled opposition party against the growth of fascism in this country. Yeah, of course I'm going to fucking support that. And it's good. Let their tears motivate you, okay? Let the opposition's fascist tears motivate you into doing more of this, please. In fairness, Nate Cohn's original post does lead with a, if you want to solve gerrymandering, but the thing is, Republicans don't. Almost none of them do. The details are interesting, but largely irrelevant because they don't want reform, they want control. Exactly. This is why I have often said this point like undermines the way that the Democrats approach politics in the United States of America undermine the severity of the crisis, right? On the one hand, they'll be like, oh, these guys are racist. But then on the other hand, they're constantly playing fucking patty cakes with these goddamn racists. All right? Don't play fucking patty cakes with them. They're punching you. They're punching you in the fucking mouth over and over again, and they're fascists. Fight back. Anyway, I said they can't comprehend the Dems actually fighting back. Incredible hogwatch opportunity here, MAGA tears. Here is Taylor Poplar's national political reporter for Spectrum News showing how Donald Trump reacted to voters in Virginia approving a ballot measure yesterday to redraw their congressional maps to favor Democrats, versus in the bottom, how President Trump reacted initially to GOP states lawmakers in Texas passing legislation last summer to redraw their congressional maps to favor Republicans. Now, this was already done because Donald Trump demanded it, by the way. Donald Trump is the singular force here. He is the guy who started this process. Okay? There were even considerations on the Republican side that, like, this might backfire, right? If we go, if we go band for band, this might actually backfire. Those voices were quickly squashed, obviously, because the Republican Party is singularly focused on soothing the fascist interests of a demented madman, Donald Trump. It's a cult, so obviously it doesn't really matter if there were, more reasonable figures in the Republican side who saw that this could be a situation that backfires on them. I'm going to read you what Donald Trump said last night or earlier today. A rigged election took place last night in the great Commonwealth of Virginia. All day long, Republicans were winning. The spirit was unbelievable. Until the very end when, of course, there was a massive mail-in ballot drop. Where have I heard that before? And the Democrats eked out another crooked victory. 6-5 goes 10-1. And yet the presidential, he's going to do another January 6th in Virginia, dude. He's like, we must do another January 6th in Virginia this time. That's what took place. They stole it. They rigged the election and they stole it. Unbelievable. Stop the steal. Stop the steal. Very close to a 50-50 split. In addition to everything else, the language of the referendum was purposely unintelligible and deceptive. Yeah, it's the Democrats fooled my illiterate voters. Everyone knows Republicans can't read or write. Which is good. That means they're bigger patriots than the stupid elite libtards who know how to read and write above a 6th grade level. This is why it should be illegal. We are doing a reverse poll tax. We are instituting a reverse poll tax. If you can read or write above a 6th grade level, you are not allowed to vote any longer. That's right. We're bringing back Jim Crow laws, but this time you are no longer allowed to read or write if you want to vote. After all, that is the real America. Big words are banned in the real America. No more school. Only homeschool. Homeschool only. We're no longer doing common core curriculum. It's woke. It's too woke. They're teaching them the maths. They're teaching them the reading. They're teaching them the writing. Anyway. He said the language was purposely unintelligible and deceptive. As everyone knows, I'm an extraordinarily brilliant person. I'm an extraordinarily brilliant person. And even I had no idea what the hell they were talking about in the referendum, and neither do they. I'm so smart, and yet I couldn't read. We should make it illegal to read. I am a real stable genius. How dare they? How dare they trick us with big words? Let's see if the courts will fix this travesty of, in air quotes, justice. President Donald J. Trump. Now, look at what he said when the shoe was on the other foot. Let's take a look. Big win for the great state of Texas. Everything passed on our way to 5 more congressional seats and saving your rights, your freedoms, and your country itself. Texas never lets us down. Florida, Indiana, and others are looking to do the same thing. More seats equals less crime, a great economy, and a strong Second Amendment. It means happiness and peace. But Republicans, there is one thing even better. Stop mail-in voting, a total fraud that has no bounds except for when I do it every single election. I have never voted in person. I have only voted by mail. That's real. Donald Trump votes by mail. Everyone else, it should be illegal. Just for me, I should be able to vote by mail. Also, go to paper ballots before it's too late. Again, it's paper ballots almost all across the United States of America. At 1/10 the cost, faster and more reliable. If we do these two things, we will pick up 100 more seats, and the crooked game of politics is over. God bless America. Do you think he actually votes at all? Yes, of course he votes, man. Come on.